And the bow is the front of a ship. I don't
Fisher, over
bite
here, baby.
very
Good
hard
Fisher.
anyway.
Good job, Fisher. Here. All right. Everybody see?
So we're just going to get in position. We're going to see it at separate times. So starboard side will see it first, and then us on port side will see it. And it's good because we have a one grouper, so that means we get to see it a little bit more than having more people on board. We kept it this small because if it rains, we want everybody to stay dry. Oh, it's raining right now. I don't know if anybody has anything upstairs that's outside that's going to hurt to get wet. Otherwise, and it really doesn't matter if it rains because we're going to see it. And that bow is starting to come. You guys are going to see it right here.
I see something.
You'll notice that metal strapping in there. That metal strapping used for two purposes. It gave that ship strength.
That's a boat, guys.
And it also saved the captain some money on his insurance. And you'll see that tow post. That tow post stands about 5 feet off the deck. That's where you would find horses, mules, donkeys. Well, maybe not donkeys, oxen. I would say donkeys because I like donkeys. But they would pull it 30 miles through the straits on that.
See it?
And that chain locker, that's where two little men on the totem pole would sleep along with the chains and ropes. Pretty rough up front, I'm sure. So this ship, it's on the back of all our shirts. It's called the Bermuda. It had 2 masts. It was a full sailing ship. The masts were 110 feet tall, made out of white pine. They use white pine because white pine's a lot more flexible. You're coming across that hole. That hole is 3 foot in diameter. You notice a little hole behind that. That's the bilge pump. That's where those guys were trying to get that water out of there. Obviously to no avail, but that's where they would try to get the water out. And we have this cargo hatch, one of 2 on the ship. The ship was carrying 488 tons of high-grade iron ore. It should have only had 400 on there. You know, last time they were out, they wanted to make payday. Didn't work out so well. And then we're seeing that centerboard hatch. Centerboard, unique in these schooners because it could raise and lower into the deep water. It would lower down, give it more mast. Mast, not mast. And in the shallows, it could, on a pivot system, roll up into the side of the ship. You'll notice some broken up decking over here. This broken up decking, there's a big boom across there. It looks like a telephone pole. They broke apart the deck because they wanted to get in there, get light. So they pulled it over here. The bay was filling up with logs, and they pulled it over here so they could work on it all day without any people coming through. And they didn't have any underwater lights, no submersible lights. I had a little one ask me the other day if they could use lanterns down there. But they broke it up. They didn't care about the integrity of the ship at all. They just wanted their light down there. And here's that second cargo hatch. Remember back in the day, they didn't want to use, or they didn't have any modern tools. They had buckets and wheelbarrows and all that sorts of stuff. It took them about 7 days. They worked for about $1 a day. It's kind of what we make here at Shipwreck Tours. There may be a little barrel down there. We are not sure what's in that barrel. We're thinking maybe whiskey, but back in the day, everything went in them. Nails, flour, anything you name it. They stored them in those wooden barrels. And then the cabin trunk area. This cabin trunk area, a 20 by 20 foot section. It went 4 feet below the deck, 4 feet above the deck. In this area too is where that second mast would stand. But this is the part that popped off like a cork. So when it popped off like a cork, they never found it again. I think somebody has a pretty awesome sauna somewhere, maybe a camp. And then there's that little tiny companionway. Has a little stick ladder down there. That's where they could get below the deck. And then we're going to see this stern here. The stern is the rear of a ship. And if you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. I'll do my best to answer it. If I can't answer it, I'll ask Captain Talitha, and if she can't, we'll ask Captain Joe. And if he can't answer it, we'll Google it. Because they're never wrong. Ever wrong. So having one group, guys, we get it a little bit better. We're gonna float down, so if you missed any pictures, have any questions. This was made out of white oak. You'll notice we don't have any zebra mussels. There's no like shag carpet on here. They don't like our cold water. It has something to do with the pH in the water as well, but I'm not a scientist, so I really don't know. We're in about 30 feet of water. It sits like a banana on the bottom. So the bow and the stern, you know, they're up in the air. So midship's a little farther away, but we're about 6 feet away from the bow of the stern.
Where were the guys located at?
Well, they just were located in the bay somewhere because it didn't go down out here. It went down over by the paper mill. You see the big blue building? 3. The captain and first mate were walking up the hill. The 3 guys must have fallen asleep trying to get that water out. So they were buried. There's a really cool little cemetery on Grand Island. I got to see it last year. It's very rustic, but it's pretty cool to be able to see. We seen some big bass down here last time. So we're going to get in position. This time you guys get to see it with a little more sunlight. We don't have lighting under the boat, this is all natural lighting. So, and no magnification, that's your true ship. It's 135 feet long. I have touched that toe post with my feet swimming out here. That's as far as I went down. But you can scuba dive all these wrecks. They are scuba, you know, you said if you were a certified scuba diver. They say it's a pretty easy dive. Yeah, you can swim around, yes. It is protected. It's the Alger Underwater Preserve, but their motto is take only pictures and leave only bubbles. So they do scuba dive this. Actually, we got a bunch of stuff going out, charters going out this week with them on it. But they say it's a pretty easy dive. There's no bulkheads in between it, so you can swim from bow to stern. All these schooners were built alike because you could interchange parts. So that's why you don't see the mast down here or any of the riggings, because they could put it on another. On another ship. Here's that. There's 2 cargo hatches on this ship. Okay. There's that centerboard. It's still in here, that centerboard. Back in the day, so we're talking 1800s, they built it on a pivot system. How cool is that? They had the ingenuity to know more mass in water would give it more stability. But you know, they had 5 men on it. What do we got? 2 women and a man on this one. So, It's just here. Been down here 152 years. You see how they broke it out? There's a boom across there. Back in the day when you scuba dived, you used to be able to attach yourself right to these shipwrecks. Now you can't do that. They have moorings on both sides that they attach them to now. They pulled off one of the sides of the ship. They did put it back on there. Not right where it belongs, but it is back on the shipwreck. That's why with this high-grade iron ore and whatever's left on here is protected. You get big fines or even jail time for defacing any of these. There's 73 wrecks that are covered under the Alger Underwater Preserve, and that's just in this area. How many square miles is that, Joe? 70 square miles. 73 wrecks. Sorry, 36. Yeah, his math isn't very good today. We just let him drive the boat. It might be 70. We'll have to Google that. A mile from the shoreline, the whole county. And Alger County is pretty big. There's that rudder post. It has a fully intact rudder. You can't see that rudder because the way it sits. It sits like a banana down there, so it's kind of down on the back side. But 152 years and it still looks that good.
No, that was just one.
Okay. It was November. They moved it like 11 years later. But they moved it from over where the paper mill is. It's in the main. That whole bay was filling up with logs. And it was really busy, like shipping and all that stuff. So when they put it over here, they could work on it with nobody bothering them for the whole summer long. But Grand Island is little cemeteries, like right over there in that little cove. There's a little beach over there. Pretty cool little cemetery. It's really, really rustic. I thought it was pretty cool to see where they were at. We tried to look for their graves, but they're not really marked very good. So. Anybody have any questions? Is it still raining out there? A little bit. All right. What do you think? Are we going to go around Muskrat Point? And we're going to see what we can see over there. The next stop will be the East Channel Lighthouse, where there's lots of photo opportunities. And you're welcome to stay down here. You don't need to go up in the rain.
Oh, don't. I'm not a let's say it sailor.